All right, so we're back and ready to dive in. Looks like you guys sent in a ton of stuff about Bitcoin. And with this White House crypto summit happening on March 7th, the timing couldn't be better. News articles, analyses, expert opinions, we've got it all. So, ready to get started.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's definitely a ton of buzz around this summit. It's not just the crypto world watching. It's like the whole financial landscape is holding its breath.
No kidding. And I mean, right off the bat, Bitcoin's already over $92,000. Is this a taste of what's to come? Could the summit really push it to like $1 million by the end of the year? Or will regulators, step in and slam the brakes?
Well, the Economic Times seems to think the summit could be a major turning point for Bitcoin regulation. They're saying one of the big things to watch is potential new stablecoin policies. That could really shake up the whole crypto market stability.
And speaking of shaking things up, did you see the Business Insider article about a potential U.S. crypto reserve? Donald Trump proposing a strategic reserve of not just Bitcoin, but also Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and Cardano. Talk about unexpected.
Yeah, that's definitely a controversial idea. It seems like even the Bitcoin community is divided. Some see it as a step towards mainstream adoption, but others are worried that including all those other cryptocurrencies kind of dilutes the whole point of Bitcoin's decentralized nature.
It definitely raises a ton of questions, right? I mean, how would a reserve like that even work? What would it do to the value of these cryptocurrencies? And, what does it mean for the U.S. dollar? Does it lose its power?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Hmm.
Policymakers are going to have to tackle these questions head-on at the summit. And the answer is, well, let's just say they're going to have ripple effects way beyond just the crypto market. I mean, this is about the future of finance as we know it.
No pressure. Right. But okay, before we get too deep into all that future stuff, let's bring it back to the present for a second. Barron's pointed out these wild price swings Bitcoin's been having, up to $92,700, then back down to $89,570, all in just a couple of days. It's a roller coaster.
Oh, yeah, the classic pre-event volatility. Speculation is definitely driving it. But we can't ignore those big-picture economic factors either. CoinDesk mentioned rising interest rates and inflation. Those are always in the background, waiting to spook the markets.
So for everyone listening, have you been feeling this roller coaster? Are you getting excited about the summit? Because things are about to get really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, let's dig into this U.S. crypto reserve idea a bit more. Trump's proposal, as Business Insider laid it out, isn't just about creating a reserve. It's about, strategically positioning the U.S. in this whole new world of global finance.
It's almost like, those old debates about the gold standard, but with a digital twist. Is this the U.S.'s way of trying to stay in control, maintain its financial dominance as digital currencies become more and more mainstream?
It's definitely a possibility. I mean, you could see the proposal as a way for the U.S. to, exert some influence over the crypto market, maybe even set global standards for how it develops. Of course, that brings up a whole other set of questions about, control and regulation.
It's crazy how crypto is shaking things up, forcing the old guard to adapt or, well, get left behind. Speaking of shaking things up, the New York Post had this article about activist investors pushing companies to adopt Bitcoin.
Oh, yeah, we're seeing that more and more.
Yeah.
They're basically arguing that holding Bitcoin is a smart hedge against inflation and all the economic uncertainty out there.
And it's not just talk. Companies like GameStop are actually being targeted. The New York Post article highlighted how these activist investors are really putting the pressure on struggling companies to consider Bitcoin almost as a lifeline.
It's a bold move. Makes you wonder about Bitcoin's place in a company's portfolio. Is it a risky gamble or, a smart move for the future? Only time will tell, I guess.
So if you were a CEO right now, would you be adding Bitcoin to your balance sheet? Talk about a tough call, especially with so much uncertainty about its future value.
Well, the Economic Times did make that pretty bold prediction, Bitcoin reaching $1 million by the end of 2025.
$1 million. I'd be doing a victory dance for sure. But even if we don't hit 1 million, just the fact that people are making these kinds of predictions, seriously, I mean, it shows you how much potential they see in this whole thing.
It's exciting stuff, no doubt. But it's important to remember, those are just predictions. The Economic Times article also talked about the risks, like overvaluation and all that.
Yeah.
Investors got to be careful, not get caught up in the hype,
Okay, so maybe hold off on those victory dances for now, but let's be real, the energy around Bitcoin is through the roof. And it's not just individual investors either. FX Street reported a whopping $175 billion flowing into Bitcoin, XRP, and AI-related cryptocurrencies. That's serious money. What's your take on that?
I mean, that kind of capital inflow shows you the confidence it's building in the crypto market. Especially with the summit coming up, it seems like the big institutional investors are really starting to pay attention,
Yeah.
placing their bets, so to speak.
It's like the whole crypto world is getting this massive energy boost. And MarketBeat even pointed out how crypto-related stocks are surging. Companies like Robinhood, BitDeer, BTC Digital, they're all seeing huge gains. The market's definitely betting that the future of finance is tied to crypto, one way or another.
It's interesting to see how those two worlds, traditional finance and crypto, are starting to collide. The lines are getting blurry. And the summit, well, it could be the thing that really pushes them together. Maybe even kick off a whole new wave of financial innovation. Who knows?
It's amazing how Bitcoin's performance seems to be affecting everything else. But hold on a sec, we've been talking so much about Bitcoin. What about all the other cool cryptocurrencies out there? I mean, Ethereum, Binance Coin, Solana, Ripple, they're all making noise too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm.
And actually, ZebPay named those as some of the top ones to watch in March 2025. They all bring something different to the table, and yeah, their performance will definitely be influenced by what happens at this summit.
So to everyone listening, don't just focus on Bitcoin. Go explore the whole crypto landscape. There's a whole universe of innovation out there. Every cryptocurrency has its own story, its own strengths and weaknesses. That's what makes it so dynamic and, honestly, a little addictive.
It's like a puzzle that's constantly changing, And as we learn more, as the technology develops, who knows what amazing stuff we'll see.
That's what I love about these deep dives. It's not just about figuring out where things are today, but also where they could go tomorrow and where they could take all of us.
Exactly. And this White House Crypto Summit, well, it could be a major turning point. It has the power to shape regulations, influence investments, and basically determine the direction of Bitcoin and the entire crypto market.
Feels like we're standing at the edge of this new frontier and everyone's holding their breath. But before we move on to part 2 of this deep dive, I want to hear from you guys. What are you thinking about all this? What are you watching for? What are you hoping for, or maybe even worried about when it comes to the future of Bitcoin? Jump into the conversation, share your thoughts, your predictions, your wildest dreams about the crypto world, because, this is a journey we're all taking together.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about Bitcoin, but like you said, there's a whole universe of cryptocurrencies out there. So let's dive into some of the other big players that ZebPay mentioned. Ethereum, for example. It's been around forever, and it has this massive ecosystem built around it.
Yeah, Ethereum's always been fascinating to me. It's not just a currency, right? It's like a platform for all kinds of decentralized applications. Remember that whole ICO craze a few years back? Ethereum was basically the engine behind that.
Exactly. And its potential goes way beyond just ICOs. I mean, think about smart contracts. That functionality has basically given birth to this whole DeFi movement, decentralized finance. So basically, we're talking about financial services built on blockchain technology, operating completely outside of traditional banking systems.
Whoa, so instead of going through banks, we could borrow, lend, even invest directly through these DeFi platforms. That's like a whole different world.
It could be. I mean, DeFi is still pretty new, and there are definitely risks involved. But it's definitely something to watch, especially as Ethereum keeps evolving. They just recently switched over to a proof-of-stake model, which is way more energy efficient than that old proof-of-work system.
Right. That was a big deal, wasn't it? One of the biggest criticisms of Bitcoin has always been its, huge energy consumption.
Exactly. Proof-of-work just requires a ton of computing power, which means a big energy footprint. But Ethereum's switch to proof-of-stake is trying to address that, make it more sustainable, more scalable.
So Ethereum's going green and paving the way for decentralized finance. Pretty impressive. Okay, what about Binance Coin? I know it's connected to that Binance exchange, which is a huge player in the crypto world.
Yeah, Binance Coin, or BNB, has been gaining a lot of traction. It's the native token of the Binance exchange, but it's got a lot of utility within that whole ecosystem.
Yeah.
You can use it to pay trading fees, participate in token sales, and access a bunch of other services.
So it's like a loyalty program, but for crypto.
Kind of, yeah. And Binance has been really smart about expanding what you can do with BNB. They're integrating it into all sorts of projects and platforms. That's definitely helped drive up its value and make it one of the top performing cryptocurrencies.
Interesting. It seems like Binance Coin is all about creating its own little world, where BNB is the key to unlock everything. Okay, what about Solana? I've heard people call it an Ethereum killer because it's supposed to be so much faster and have lower transaction fees.
Solana's definitely made a big splash. Their technology allows for crazy fast transaction speeds and way lower fees compared to Ethereum. That's attracted a lot of developers who are building new applications on the Solana blockchain.
So it's like a race to see who can provide the best user experience, right? Lower costs, faster transactions, those are definitely things people care about.
Absolutely. And Solana's focus on scalability is a big selling point. They want to build a blockchain that can handle massive amounts of transactions without sacrificing speed or efficiency.
Sounds like Solana's giving Ethereum a run for its money. Okay, what about Ripple? I know XRP has been in the news a lot lately, mostly because of that whole SEC lawsuit, but it's still a major player in the crypto space, right?
Right. Ripple's main focus is on cross-border payments, and they've partnered with a bunch of financial institutions to make international transactions faster and cheaper. XRP is the token they use in their payment network.
So Ripple's trying to bridge the gap between the old world of finance and this new crypto world.
Exactly. They want to make cross-border payments more efficient, less expensive. It's a huge market with a lot of potential for disruption. But yeah, the outcome of that SEC lawsuit is going to have a big impact on their future.
It's a good reminder that the crypto world isn't some lawless Wild West, you know? Governments and regulators are still trying to figure out what to do with it all. But anyway, all these developments, Ethereum going green, Binance Coin building its ecosystem, Solana focusing on speed, Ripple working with financial institutions, they all show just how fast this space is changing.
Yeah, it's kind of like watching the early days of the internet, so much innovation, so much experimentation. It's hard to say exactly how it's all going to play out, but it's clear that crypto is here to stay. It's going to change the world. That much I think we can say for sure.
It's almost overwhelming to think about all the possibilities, right? Decentralized finance, cross-border payments, new ways to think about ownership. The potential for disruption is huge. And this White House Crypto Summit, well, it feels like a turning point. Like the world is finally taking crypto seriously and trying to figure out how to deal with it.
I totally agree. The decisions made at this summit are going to have ripple effects for years to come. Will governments embrace crypto or try to control it? Will traditional financial institutions adapt or just get left behind? These are the big questions that are going to shape the future of this whole thing.
It's like we're at a fork in the road, and the path we choose now is going to determine the direction of the entire crypto ecosystem. But before we get to part 3 of this deep dive, we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the future of crypto? Do you think it's going to revolutionize finance, change the world as we know it? Share your insights, your predictions with us.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground, haven't we? I mean, Bitcoin's price swings, that idea of a U.S. crypto reserve, the rise of Ethereum, Binance Coin, Solana, Ripple. But, stepping back for a second, it feels like this is about way more than just which coin's going to hit $1 million first,
Yeah, I think you're right. It's like a fundamental shift in how we think about value, period.
Totally. Like we're so used to measuring wealth in dollars and cents, right? Tied to currencies that are like backed by governments.
Yeah.
But cryptocurrencies, they operate outside of all that. Their value comes from like a decentralized network, from code, from what the community decides it's worth. And that really challenges the whole foundation of our financial system, doesn't it? I mean, imagine a world where value isn't controlled by central banks or governments, but by a network of users.
And that's what this White House Crypto Summit really highlights, right? It's this clash of ideologies, this head-to-head between the old world of finance and this new wave of decentralized technology.
The stakes are high, that's for sure. The decisions made at this summit could determine whether crypto is embraced as this force for good, for innovation,
right,
or whether it's seen as a threat that needs to be controlled.
Makes you think about all the ripple effects, Like what happens to international trade if crypto becomes the norm? What happens to national currencies if decentralized digital currencies take over?
And it goes beyond just the economics of it all, right?
Yeah.
This shift in how we see value, it could have a huge impact on society and politics.
Yeah.
What happens to the power dynamics between individuals, institutions, and governments when value is decentralized?
It's like we're entering this new renaissance almost, this period of massive change driven by technology, and we're all part of it, whether we realize it or not.
It's exciting, right? But it's also a little bit scary. We're in uncharted territory, and we're figuring things out as we go.
And that's why I think these deep dives are so important. We need to understand not just the tech, but the big picture, the potential benefits and the risks. We need to be informed so we can make smart choices about the future, the future we all want to live in.
I couldn't agree more. Knowledge is power, especially now when things are changing so fast. I mean, I really encourage everyone listening to dig deeper, go beyond the headlines, learn about blockchain technology, decentralized systems, all of it.
Yeah, don't just ride the wave, Understand what's driving it. And don't be afraid to ask questions. Challenge the assumptions. Get involved in the conversation. This is our collective future we're talking about here.
Well said. This deep dive, it's just a starting point, really. There's so much more to explore. But for now, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay, I'm listening.
As this whole crypto revolution unfolds, remember that it's not just about the technology or the money. At its core, it's about people. It's about empowering individuals, driving innovation, and creating a financial system that's fairer and more accessible for everyone.
That's a great way to put it. Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive into the world of Bitcoin and everything beyond. Thanks for joining us on this journey.
It's been a pleasure. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those deep dive questions coming.
And we'll see you in the cryptoverse.
If this video helped, hit the like button, subscribe for more crypto content, and I'll see you in the next one.